Hey there, Tobias here. Today I want to talk about how you can make more money, have more time as a solopreneur. So in this session, I'm going to talk about the three levels, the kind of progression of solopreneurism. So let's talk about this if you're a consultant, if you're a freelancer, and I'm going to argue there's even a higher level. This is all for you if you're running solo and you're in the expert space, again, consultant or freelancer. And I work typically with people who work in branding, marketing, kind of creative, services, but it's not limited to that. All the same things I'm going to talk about will work for you as well. So a lot of people are limited because they're solopreneurs, and typically we are limited because of the bandwidth, the time, the energy that we have, because there are only so many hours in a month, right? In that sense, we're kind of all limited. And so a big, part of what I do, and with this whole philosophy and model that we call the Boundless Model, is essentially about removing limitations so you can achieve more, so you can have more freedom, more money, and more time. And so today I want to talk about three different levels. And it's basically like these are the meta level business models of solopreneurism. I don't know if that's a word or not. So bear with me. So the first level I want to talk about is what I just call freelancing. And that's essentially, when a solopreneur in the expert space does work for clients. And typically, let's say you are a designer or you're somebody building websites, whatever, somebody contracts you to do a scope of work. So essentially what you are doing, and you might not like this, you are selling your time. And you're selling your time for an outcome. And the worst way to do this, if you really want to be, because this is in a way the hamster wheel model. Sorry to say that, hope you don't get offended. And by the way, I'm not judging anyone for doing this type of work, this part of model. You might love it and this is your dream, and I fully support that. I just want to kind of open your eyes to how you can have more leverage, which something I'm all about. That's more time, more money, more freedom. So let's say you're somebody selling projects, and now you're limited to the factors of time and money. I mean, aren't we kind of all, right? But the trick is we want to defy the laws, the gravity, if you will, of the time and money equation. Because really, when you think about it, you have about 160 working hours per month. Well, you might, be hustling and doing 200 hours, whatever. I'm just going to assume that you do about 160 hours per month, which is sort of the norm. Now, then the question is, how much can you charge per day or per hour? And this is the reason why so many people are stuck somewhere between, let's say, 6, 7, 8,000 a month at the low end, and about 20K or so, or actually more like 15K at the high end. Like, this can be explained with the simple fact that as a solopreneur, you have to do so many different things. You have to do, the whole thing of like getting clients. You have to do admin. You have to, of course, do the delivery part, which is the biggest chunk. And so if you think about it, if you were to charge, let's just do some very easy math here. If you were to charge 1,000 per day and you sold 10 days per month, so 50% of your full capacity, you'd be capped at 10,000. Maybe you're stretching and maybe you're raising prices, or you're providing more time and you get to 15K. Great. You've already won, when you're applying this model. But what if you wanted to achieve more than that? Well, there are a couple things we can do. We can either optimize and maximize for that model, meaning we're really trying to squeeze everything we can. So that's like, we can raise prices, and then the other part is, how can we, give you more time? Those are pretty much the levers that we can play with. So giving you more time could be productizing your service. If you're still doing the work for somebody, you might be able to have some components that are automated, and that you're able to sort of reuse things or partly reuse parts of the work that you do. So these are things that you can do to optimize and maximize. And I won't go into too much detail. I might do that in a different video if you're interested in that. And so, you can do that, and then you can optimize. Maybe you get to 15, 20, maybe you could even get to 30. In fact, we teach people how to do that. You can get, to 30K as a freelancer. But you have to be really well optimized, and you have to really be clear about how you use your time. And of course, you can leverage collaborations. You can use other people, and that's a great lever, by the way. But I won't go into that because I'm here to talk about the three levels. Now, the second level, If the first one is about essentially selling your time for money, the second one is the consultant. And a lot of people that do work for clients, they call themselves consultants, but I want to go with the real definition, which is where you are an advisor. And so for me, the prerequisite for being a consultant is, sure, you might do some of the work for clients, but ideally, you're applying a done-with-you model, business model. And what that really means is you guide transformation. So let's say, in the typical way that I do this, have done this for a long time, and teach clients inside Original Minds, which is where we teach this model of here's how to get to 360,000 per year or 30K per month, which is kind of like the first level, is you apply a model like something like this. You have a front-end offer and you have a back-end offer. The front-end offer is a one-time result, a clear result that you could do in a workshop, or you could do a consult, you could do a 30-day, or you could do a 60-day, whatever. You give your clients a specific result, and it's fully productized. You never, redesign it. You have the offer, you have the tools, the frameworks, everything. They're done once, so you can exploit them forever. Build it once, sell it forever. That's the slogan of my productization program called Beta, by the way. If you're interested, I'll maybe provide some links down there if I remember. Now, so that's the front-end offer. The back-end offer, the model that we teach is build a monthly recurring revenue offer for the back-end. That's for implementation. So let's say I do a strategy workshop at the front, and I go, hey, here's the potential. As you can see, we could optimize these and these things, or we could add a product here. We could, build a client acquisition system, whatever it is, and this should get you another, 500,000, a million, 5 million, whatever it is, depending on the size of the client. And so then the client goes, I'm interested in that. Okay, well, how does that look like? Okay, well, it means we're going to have to implement this system. For example, it's going to take 12 months, and I charge 5K a month for that, 3K a month, 10K a month, whatever it is. So, but the key here is that you don't push buttons. And you can do a kind of a hybrid, because I've done this with so many people I know that, for example, brand strategists, brand consultants, there's some aspects of this work where you might have to lean in and do some of the work for clients, but for at least 80% of this should be you guiding them through a transformation. And this is the key to freeing up so much time. So if the first level, the freelancer, I would say, if you do 30K a month, which is what we teach, again, we have the plan for it, we train and coach you for that. If you're interested, check the links below. If that's like 0 to 30, and these are rough numbers, by the way, then the consulting, the advisor model, where you sell and charge for your expertise, for your ability to solve a problem that is valuable and painful for a client, I would say that's like 20 or 30K at the lower level, up to like 100, even 200,000 per month as a solo. And so, yeah, that could be with the help of a VA with something, but you can actually do that. To be honest, I've never done more than 120,000 per month by myself, but I think that's pretty good. It's pretty good. I didn't even have a VA, but that was all because I leveraged these different business models that exist under this kind of meta level business model or philosophy of the advisor model. So, you can do one-to-ones, you can do group programs, you could do hybrids. There are lots of different ways to do that. Again, if you're interested, check the links below. I won't go into all those different things in this video. So the consultant is able to leverage time significantly better because he or she sells expertise and doesn't charge for time, because they have this unique ability to position themselves and solve problems at a higher level. Okay, so we have the freelancer level, we have the consultant with the asterisk of the advisor, and then the highest level in solopreneurship land, that's a new word, is to become a partner. This is something that I only got into in the last couple of years. And there's something called consulting for equity, which essentially is the model. It's the model that I teach too. And so this is kind of the holy grail of being a solo consultant, because you basically like level 2, the consultant. But what you do is you find a problem that is really valuable, something that is a core skill of yours, and you not only get charged, let's say, a monthly fee for working with somebody, you're working toward a bigger goal and you become an equity owner. Now, again, I won't go into all the different ways you can do this. You could structure it as something called phantom equity. You can get a share of profit, so you might not actually be a real shareholder. In the US, for example, phantom equity means you have the right to a specific percentage, let's say it's 10% of equity whenever something is paid out and when the company is sold, but you're not really an equity holder, so you don't have to pay tax on the ownership, but let's not go in there. You could have just a share on sales, like a royalty type deal. It's kind of like a model where you make money at the top, so royalties are great because you're not involved in the risk of the profits. But you could also do profits, of course. And the really good trigger here is you can be part of exits. So the goal, if you want to do consulting for equity, should to start to build a portfolio of ownerships that give you both cash flow. I warn people about working for sweat. So sweat equity, just saying, hey, I'm just going to work for the upside, because there are ways that you can avoid that. So let's say you have a portfolio of 5 to 10 companies that all pay you, for example, 5 to 10K a month. In addition, you have ownership, you have equity ownerships in these companies. And the day that they exit, that's where you have your big payday. Of course, you can also get dividends, distributions, whatever it's called in the country where you are, but eventually the exit is the big payday. So that for me is the highest level, and that's worth striving for. And in our boundless consulting model, this is kind of the progression that I just described to you that you can work toward. Depending on where you are, maybe you're just kind of starting out, you're in the freelancer model, maybe you're the lower level of the consulting, maybe partnerships and private, the whole equity piece is not for you yet, but there is a path to go there. And you might think that it's why would people give me equity? But it turns out that if you're good, if you know what you're doing, it's actually possible. It's actually easier than you think. Of course, this doesn't really apply to you if you work for the Coca-Cola company. They probably are not going to give you big chunks of equity anyways, but this is particularly a good strategy if you work with smaller companies. So hopefully that made sense. I talked about 3 different levels, and in our boundless model that includes like the idea of simplifying, of really finding models that give you more leverage. And then we also add collaborations, because collaborations, they help you in a way where you don't have to focus on your own. You don't have to exploit only your own resources for value creation and delivery. So you're not limited to your own time, your resources, your knowledge. You can tap into networks, and that's the kind of highest level of Original Minds. It's a collective. We're a consultancy, we're also collective. So if you're interested, check the links below and let's talk about it. There are many different ways that we can work together. I do some one-to-one work, limited to a few people, and then we have different ways that you can join our different groups and masterminds and so forth. Hopefully that made sense. Don't be a slave to a poor model. It's the worst thing. It's like rowing a boat that has a lot of holes in it. Don't do that. Apply a better model. And if I can help you, if my team can help you, reach out and I'll be back and see you in another episode. Take care.